Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Path of Exile's Echoes of the Atlas content reveal. I'll give you guys my thoughts and my reaction to it. So anyways, this is basically where it starts out. Just as a heads up, if you guys do want to go ahead and check it out without my commentary, I will be going ahead and posting that down below, just because I may pause just to go ahead and read like there's certain effects of certain things. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started.
What drives you, Exile? Is it justice? Revenge? Honor? No. It is power. We felt your deeds.
Kind of looks like some like meteor ability.
Felt their shockwaves ripple through the void.
So we got a new boss. It looks like is that a new skill or a support gem where it was bouncing off of walls.
Now you must keep it. Your limits will be tested. Break them. Do what is thought impossible, and the Atlas will follow.
A brutal showdown. Looks like we're fighting multi-bosses. Was that Shaper and Kitava? 11 new maps. Oh, that's awesome. There's some new skills. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, this is where I was talking about where like I may want to pause it and I want to read like everything because this is the point of, you know, checking it out. So we have Bastion of Elements, triggers level 1 of Primal Aegis when allocated. Other Aegis skills are disabled, cannot take reflected elemental damage. Okay, so there's new Ascendancies, which that's getting me super excited because I hope some of the other classes that need definitely a buff and can get some buffs. So we have Ricochet skills chain +1 times, and projectiles have a 30% chance to be able to chain when colliding with terrain, which I think is what we kind of saw over there where I was bouncing with that like red arrow. So Harvest is going to be making a return. Okay. And then also Heist, which I actually really like Heist League. That was fun. This is a ritual. I'm wondering if it's like you activate it and whatever you kill around it, all the blood builds into kind of like a metamorph without having to manually put one in.
The stars themselves will bear silent witness. How far will you bend before you break?
Ooh, that looks really cool. Alright, so it comes out on January 15th. But there's a lot more content. The whole point of this is to check out all of what is available here. It's actually quite a lengthy content reveal. But let's check it out.
That's one of my favorite Path of Exile trailers. We've released, what, like 35 trailers so far over the last decade, and I still get shivers watching each new one. Props to our video guy Eben for great work as usual. So there's a lot to cover based on what we've just seen. Let's get right into it. In 2016, we introduced the Atlas of Worlds, a formal progression system for Path of Exile's endgame maps that culminated in a pinnacle boss fight against the Shaper. Since then, the War for the Atlas and Conquerors of the Atlas expansions have expanded the Atlas system, introduced new endgame bosses, broadened mechanics, added new rewards, and provided more opportunity for mastery of Path of Exile's endgame. The Echoes of the Atlas expansion introduces a new pinnacle boss, a new way to fight many map bosses at the same time, 11 new maps to explore, and new endgame rewards to earn. Just a few map tiers into Echoes of the Atlas, you will begin to encounter an NPC called the Envoy. It seems that when the Elder was sealed, its absence didn't go unnoticed. The Envoy speaks ominously of new visitors to the Atlas. The first such visitor, and the focus of this endgame expansion, is an entity called the Maven. You'll first encounter the Maven in the boss arena of a map, where she will make the boss encounter more difficult and watch as you do your best to defeat it.
Just like double
If you're
of them?
successful, she'll give you her beacon, which lets you call her to any map in that region, so she can watch more fights. After showing her your boss-killing prowess, she will give you an invitation to her own realm, where she has prepared a special challenge. The Maven really wants to push you to your limits and has fabricated copies of the bosses she watched you defeat. This time, however, you'll have to defeat them simultaneously. If you manage to best her challenge, she'll politely ask you to do the whole cycle again, Except this time she wants to watch more and tougher fights, and her next challenge will contain 4 bosses, then 5, then 6, and finally 10.
10 bosses at once? That's going to be super difficult for certain builds.
If you're persistent and talented, you may even get to fight the Maven herself, in a very difficult boss encounter designed to challenge the strongest and best Path of Exile players. Completing the Maven's challenges offers the opportunity to acquire some very powerful new rewards, including Atlas passive skill points, craftable Watchstones, and even the Maven's Orb. As you complete the Maven's challenges, you'll earn a new type of passive skill point that can be allocated on a special passive skill tree in that region of the Atlas of Worlds. Each of the Atlas's regions has its own passive tree, and they generally have...
Ooh, okay, hold on. I wanna pause to check out every single one of these. But I'm really worried that certain builds like Flicker Strike are just gonna be not as viable, unless of course there's other things to make it a lot better. Anyways, areas have 2% chance to contain the Sacred Grove. Okay.
From. You can earn up...
Wait, what was that other one? Was it like Harvest Monsters?
On 20 nodes to choose from.
Harvest monsters in an area grant 200% increased experience. Harvested plants in an area have 50% chance to spawn additional monster. Okay, so it's not actually like our stats. I guess it's just like kind of in a sense a magic find and XP.
You can earn up to a total of 10 skill points per Atlas region.
Wait, so it's per region? That's actually pretty insane.
The Atlas passive choices in the Glennick Cairns region. This branch allows you to focus on...
Okay. Oh shoot! I just went way too far forward. We're at like right here.
The Atlas passive choices in the Glennick Cairns region. This branch.
Okay, so enemies close together in areas has a 3% chance to attract monsters from beyond. Beyond demons in an area grant 10% experience. Beyond demons in area grant 10% experience. And then powerful beyond demons require 1 fewer portal to summon in areas. Beyond portals in areas have 100% increased merging radius. Okay.
Allows you to focus on beyond, increasing the amount of experience granted by beyond monsters, but also allowing you to spawn more beyond monsters really easily. The Torn Veil notable will drastically increase the quantity of beyond demons you can encounter. The Legion branch has a notable passive which increases the amount...
Okay, so we have 1% chance to drop additional timeless splinters. Okay, Legion encounters are 100% more likely to include general. So it's just modifying existing, I guess, league mechanics. Okay. I was thinking more along the lines if I wanted another like skill tree that would actually give us stats, but maybe that will happen.
Break enemies out and makes it easier to break them out. It's an example of a skill that you could invest into while you're weak and then remove it later once you're more powerful. And yes, as I implied here, there is an orb that lets you refund Atlas passives. The Incursion branch allows you to more easily get higher tier rooms in the Temple of Atsuatl and helps you make a definitive decision on whether to swap specific rooms. On the Ambush branch, the tamper-proof notable passive upgrades all strongboxes to be rare and corrupted. This synergizes incredibly well with the Ambush Zana mod or prophecies like Monstrous Treasure. While it prevents you from re-rolling valuable types of strongboxes, the sheer number of corrupted 6-socket and 6-link items will certainly be tempting. Now let's have a look at the Atlas passive choices available in the Lex Proxima region. The Harvest branch can increase your chances of finding a Sacred Grove, increase its crafting rewards, and make it more likely that you'll encounter a Shavi. We'll explain later in the presentation about how Harvest is being integrated into the core game in this expansion. The Torment branch can increase item drops from possessed and touched monsters, as well as populating the area with some already possessed monsters. These synergize quite well with the Sextants that guarantee a certain amount of rewards from possessed monsters. The Delve branch can increase your Sulfite gains, grant more Master Favor, and grant more Nico Master missions. The Sulfite Infusion notable passive grants Sulfite for defeating map bosses, regardless of whether the area has Nico present. This means that you'll be constantly gaining Sulfite for every map you do in a region, which is a great strategy if you're not already using Sulfite Scarabs aggressively. There are also Breach passives, which increase your chances of encountering a breach and ramp up the difficulty and rewards of your breaches. Naturally, new endgame content means new endgame rewards. Watchstones are an endgame item that can be placed in the Atlas of Worlds to upgrade a region's map tiers and add new base maps to that region. There are 2 types of existing Watchstones: quest item ones that can upgrade a region and can't be traded between players, and unique Ivory Watchstones that provide special bonuses and can be traded. These unique ones are consumed after a number of maps are run. The Echoes of the Atlas expansion introduces 3 new types of craftable watchstones: titanium, chromium, and platinum. Like regular watchstones, these never expire, but unlike regular watchstones, they can be traded and crafted. They are found quite late in your progression through the Atlas. The eventual goal is that you replace all of your base quest item watchstones with the new craftable ones over time as you upgrade your Atlas. Each of these 3 types of new watchstone has its own special mod pool, but there's also a shared mod pool that they all draw from. Like flasks, they can only be normal or magic. You can't find or craft rare watchstones. Because you can have up to 4 watchstones socketed in a region, up to 8 mods can affect that region, and some quite large bonuses to specific content can be stacked. When combined with the Atlas passive trees, these really allow you to optimize what content you encounter and the rewards from that content.
That's really good for solo soft
The
hunt
Maven's
players.
Orb is an endgame crafting currency item that can only drop from the Maven herself. It allows you to craft influence modifiers when 2 or more are present on an item by removing one modifier and upgrading another. When upgrading an influence modifier of the current highest tier, it upgrades to a new elevated tier that can have additional properties. This foul regalia has 2 Crusader influence modifiers on it, the percentage increased intelligence one and the physical damage taken as lightning damage one. When we apply a Maven's Orb to it, it randomly removes one of these mods and upgrades the other one to become an elevated influence mod. In this case, it upgraded the increased intelligence mod to also have +1 to the level of socketed intelligence gems. The other influence mod was removed. This opens up a mod slot, of course, so it's now possible to add another mod to it. Let's YOLO.
That's really good.
Maven's Orb crafting is only going to be performed by the upper echelons of elite players, and pushes the boundaries of the best items that are possible in Path of Exile. One of the things that players look forward to in an endgame Path of Exile expansion is new maps to play. In Echoes of the Atlas, we have added 11 new types of maps to the Atlas of Worlds, covering a wide variety of environments. And of course, each comes with its own challenging boss fight. Let's have a look at 4 of these new tile sets.
I wonder if some of these are going to be from Path of Exile too, like the tile sets. Because they definitely look a lot nicer than some of the other ones that we've had. That are just kind of a little bit older.
One of the reasons why these new maps look so good is that the environment art tile set and level design teams working on them have been doing so much work on Path of Exile 2 recently.
Oh, okay.
And it's not just the 4 maps that we showed you here. There are 7 other new maps with their own bosses to discover in-game in this expansion.
Nice. It looks like the bosses are also more
we start a new challenge league. These are essentially a fresh
engaging
server to play on for that expansion launch, where players explore the new league mechanics, rush to conquer the new economy, race to level 100, and try to get the best items before their friends. The Challenge League being released alongside Echoes of the Atlas is the Ritual League. In the Ritual League, you'll discover several mysterious altars in each area you explore. Slay the monsters at the ritual site and then activate the altar to initiate the ritual. When it begins, you'll be enclosed within the ritual circle and will have to face off against both the onslaught of monsters you've just slain and also the specific powers of that altar. Each subsequent ritual in the area will summon all the monsters from the previous ones, so the difficulty and reward ramp up as you challenge yourself with each successive ritual. Monsters you kill after you have activated a ritual grant you points called Tribute. At the end of each ritual, you'll have an opportunity to spend this tribute on various reward items.
That's
These
awesome.
items vary greatly in power and cost, so you may find you can afford several cheaper ones or one more valuable one. For clarity, tribute doesn't transfer between game areas.
Okay.
As you complete subsequent rituals in the same area, more potential rewards will be revealed, which can be very expensive. If you can't afford to purchase a reward outright, you can spend a portion of its cost to defer it until later. This means that it will show up in a later area at a reduced price.
That's
Items can
awesome.
be deferred multiple times until you can eventually afford them, and for some of the most valuable rewards in this league, this may be the easiest way to obtain them.
Wow, that's
You
insane.
also spend some tribute to re-roll the contents of the reward screen 1 time per instance if you'd like a new set of reward items to choose from.
I like it. It's kind of like
Among
gambling
the
in
other
Diablo,
rewards
but
can
you know
choose
what the
from
item
ritual
is.
Are a special new set of ritual base types. These are craftable items that have different implicit modifiers than Path of Exile's regular base types. Specifically, they have a strong upside combined with an accompanying downside. If you can create a build that mitigates this drawback, then you can take advantage of the power of these items and craft them into something amazing. For example, these Nexus gloves reduce your maximum mana, but have a chance of immediately refunding the mana spent to use a skill. If you can work around this restriction to your mana pool, you can periodically use skills for essentially no mana cost. Here are two other examples of ritual base types, the Penitent Mask and the Stormrider Boots. The Penitent Mask applies the Crush debuff to you, removing your physical damage protection. However, its upside is that it increases the effect of Fortify on you by quite a lot, reducing the damage you take from hits. There are many situations where this is a huge win, such as if you already have no armor or endurance charges. The Stormrider Boots reduce your accuracy rating but provide a huge added lightning damage boost to your attacks based on your accuracy rating. If you have other sources of accuracy to rely on, then this is potentially a huge increase to the lightning damage you deal. In the endgame, you can obtain ritual vessels, which allow you to itemize the monsters from a ritual. You can place up to 4 vessels in the map device alongside a map to add the monsters stored in those vessels to the rituals present in the map. This increases both the difficulty and rewards of the rituals, as well as generating even more tribute to spend on those rewards.
So looking at the ritual
For example,
system,
because there's a chance of encountering
I feel like, again, there's going to be certain builds, like the one where there's that little like laser that spins around. Certain builds, again, are just going to be at a huge disadvantage for this, but that comes with being a Flicker Strike like fan.
a Headhunter or Mirror of Calandra as rewards, using ritual vessels increases the chances you'll be offered those items and allows you to afford them. In addition, you can use these vessels to substantially increase monster density in maxed out maps that have mechanics like Beyond or Delirium present. Using vessels, you have control over the risk and reward of your hardest ritual encounters. Vessels are tradable both before and after they contain monsters.
Oh, that's really cool. So you can
In
trade
addition to the new
after.
endgame content in the Ritual Challenge League, a large focus of the Echoes of the Atlas expansion is on its Ascendancy classes. Path of Exile has 19 Ascendancy classes, which let you specialize your character further than the base character classes allow. To unlock your Ascendancy class, you must find the Altar of Ascendancy at the end of the Lord's Labyrinth. In this expansion, we've rebalanced every one of these 19 classes and have significantly reworked 3 of them, the Elementalist, the Inquisitor, and the Deadeye. The aim of these changes is to redistribute and simplify power so that Ascendancy passive skills perform stronger single functions more effectively. Let's check some of them out. The Elementalist has always been a good general Ascendancy class for many elemental builds, but lacked really in-depth build options. Now you can pick which elemental ailments to use for greater build customization, as well as providing more consistent power against tougher enemies. The Elementalists can also protect themselves from a large amount of elemental damage. Bastion of Elements provides a significant defensive shield against elemental damage, which can be further improved by allocating more skills on your passive tree and Ascendancy tree. The Liege of the Primordial and Elemental skills focus on golem builds. Taking Liege of the Primordial now means that your golems are automatically resummoned 4 seconds after they die.
Ooh.
To make your golems immune to elemental damage, you'll now need to spec into Elemencer as well as Liege of the Primordial. Previously, the Shaper of Desolation skill forced you to improve both Shocking and Chilling, even if you didn't use both. We've now moved these benefits into their own branches, culminating in the Shaper of Flames, Winter, and Storm skills, allowing you to pick which ailments you improve. You can use and enhance Ignite, Chill, and Shock on any build. Mastermind of Discord no longer focuses
Wait, your
on
hits
heralds
always
and allows you to
ignite?
strip all
Hold on,
elements.
I gotta go back on this. So I know my face is blocking the Shape of Winter, but your hits always ignite, and all damage with hits can ignite. You could do a really cool Oros build with that, and then with Shaper of Winter, all damage with hits can chill. That's can chill versus the other one being your hits always ignite. That could again be really huge with like the Eye of Innocence, and there's a lot of builds that can create infinite loops with it, but I like this idea over here. And like I said, since my face cam is blocking the Shape of Winter, all damage with your hits can chill, and then chills from your hits always reduce action speed by at least 15% and 50% more effect of cold ailments you inflict with hits for which the highest damage type is cold. Your chills can reduce action speed by up to a maximum of 40%. So that's that one. The other one, the Shaper of Storm Materia, hits always shock. I really wish it was that they would, I mean, always freeze would be way too strong, obviously. I have to reread what the replica Oro Sacrifice does, but I'm pretty sure it was cold based. If it works off of just chilling, then maybe that could be something to take into consideration. But I like the always hit ignites. Again, it opens up the doors for other like builds with like Eye of Innocence.
Mastermind of Discord no longer focuses on heralds and allows you to strip all elemental resistances from your enemies effectively. Pendulum of Destruction has been reworked as Heart of Destruction, providing more elemental damage or area of effect when you need them most.
Okay.
The Inquisitor has derived much of its power from its Inevitable Judgment skill, but the rest of the tree was fairly straightforward and lacked anything truly unique. After our changes in this expansion, many more of the Inquisitor skills provide significantly more offensive or defensive power, while Instruments of Zeal opens up an entirely new and very unique playstyle. Let's have a look at some of the new Inquisitor Ascendancy skills. Pious Path no longer affects attack and cast speed, and now allows you to double the potential recovery of life regeneration by having it apply equally to Energy Shield. Sanctuary no longer provides mana, but now has a larger damage bonus from Consecrated Ground, up from 10% to 15%. Righteous Providence has been simplified a lot. It still focuses on critical strike chance, but it now scales it up by a percentage equivalent to either your strength or intelligence value, whichever one is lowest. It also provides plus 50 to both of these attributes, which is a huge benefit in multiple ways. You will definitely want lots of both attributes. Instruments of Virtue has been simplified and made more powerful.
Since my face is blocking this one, it's 10% more damage for each non-instant spell you've cast in the past 8 seconds, up to a maximum of 30
It does
battle
no longer
mage.
strictly apply if you've cast a spell or attacked recently, but it now grants 10% more attack damage for each non-instant spell you've cast recently, up to a maximum of 30%. It also grants Battle Mage, which causes you to gain added spell damage equal to the damage of your main hand weapon. This provides a lot of new hybrid spellcast and melee build possibilities.
That's actually really cool.
You can combine Instruments of Virtue with the new Instruments of Zeal Ascendancy passive. This introduces the concept of Fanaticism, which causes spells you cast yourself to have 75% more cast speed, reduced mana cost, and increased area of effect. Fanaticism is gained by using attacks regularly, giving huge bonuses for weaving attacking and spellcasting together. Historically, the Deadeye Ascendancy was the best place to find a variety of strong projectile-based effects. But over time, more of these effects have shown up on items, and the Deadeye has lost much of what made it unique. We've brought the uniqueness back to this Ascendancy with a variety of new mechanics that enable new ways to build and play ranges. Let's have a look at the new Deadeye Ascendancy skills. Far Shot now deals 60% more damage to enemies far away from you, which is up from 30% before, but now also deals 20% less damage to enemies that are close. It no longer has a projectile speed bonus, but now removes the spread from your barrages. This additional damage rewards Deadeyes who can keep their distance from their targets. Previously, Ricochet caused your projectiles to chain an additional time and granted 10% more damage for each remaining chain. The new Ricochet allows your projectiles to both chain an additional time and have a chance to chain off walls and terrain. Endless Munitions has been simplified to offer 2 additional projectiles rather than 1 additional projectile and some other minor bonuses. This skill is accessible behind 3 of the Deadeye's paths, making it an option for many different Deadeye builds. Occupying Force is a new skill that benefits...
Okay, so my face blocked this one. Mirage Archers are not attached to you. +2 maximum number of summoned Mirage Archers. Cannot summon Mirage Archers while near your Mirage Archers. Oh, that's really cool. I think that's what it was kind of showing off like previously, or they were walking around.
Mirage Archers by granting you additional ones and allowing them to be separate from you. Gathering Winds now always grants Tailwind to permanently boost your speed, and the increase to Tailwind effect per skill used is now given by the Gale Force buff. Wind Ward enhances the Gathering Winds passive by making Gale Force a lot more effective, with the drawback of losing all Gale Force if you're hit. If you can stay out of the fray, this potentially makes your character even more potent. The Rupture skill previously helped Critical Strike bleed builds. It's been renamed to Rupture Ring and has been simplified while being made more powerful. Critical strikes that inflict bleeding now also inflict Rupture, which causes bleeding enemies to lose more life, but their bleed expires more quickly. Focal Point is a new skill which improves the effect of mark skills that were made more powerful in our recent Heist expansion. It increases the effect of your marks by 75% and makes surrounding enemies deal less damage to you. As you have seen, the Elementalist, Inquisitor, and Deadeye have undergone some major changes in this expansion. We have also improved the other 16 Ascendancy classes and will show you some of the changes to the Slayer to demonstrate what you can expect. Some Slayer effects were much stronger than others, limiting build choice. We've now provided more power spread out over a wider selection of passives, while allowing easier access to the Slayer's special leech mechanic. Brutal Fervor and Endless Hunger have switched places on their Ascendancy branch so that life...
Okay, since my face is black on it. You're not affected by bleeding while leeching is at the very bottom. It says cannot be stunned while leeching, and 20% increased attack speed while leeching, and 20% of overall kill damage. Overall overkill damages leech's life.
Leech is more accessible and can be further improved by speccing into Endless Hunger. Masterful Form still causes you to have endurance charges equal to the number of frenzy charges you have, but now grants an additional frenzy charge instead of increasing endurance and frenzy charge duration. Overwhelm's base critical strike chance for attacks with weapons has been increased. Hopefully you now have a good idea of the scope of changes that we've made.
You know, I'm pretty sure they'll have this on the website, but I'll mention if anything is like really important for this. I'm mostly interested to see if they're going to nerf Champion, because I feel like Champion is definitely just super powerful right now in its current state. But oh yeah, you know what? My face cam is only blocking the one it's Endless Hunger, which we already like read off before. But let's see the impact. We get forward and melee strike range. Okay, I'm just going to continue playing it.
The 19 Ascendancy classes. While the biggest changes to the three we're heavily revamping, the Elementalist, Inquisitor, and Deadeye, all of the others have received at least numeric attention also. We believe that the new design philosophy for Ascendancy passives makes them easier to understand and that they are a more concentrated source of power. We look forward to revealing the rest of the changes next week.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure that they'll have like a site for that.
Adding new skill and support gems to Path of Exile helps create new ways to play. In Echoes of the Atlas, we've introduced 2 new gems that provide versatile ways for you to build powerful new characters. These are the Hydrosphere skill gem and the Trinity support gem. First, let's have a look at Hydrosphere. The skill summons a huge sphere of water that you can move around to crush enemies. While it is active, you can apply cold or lightning ailments to it. It will then pulse for a duration, afflicting nearby enemies with damage matching that ailment. This player is applying freeze to the Hydrosphere with freezing pulse, and that causes it to repeatedly damage surrounding enemies with cold damage. Here's the gem hover for Hydrosphere.
Oh my gosh.
The skill gem can be acquired from level 34 and can be supported with spell, area of effect, duration, cold, orb, lightning, and physical support gems. It pulses every 0.4 seconds while an ailment is applied to it. It also converts its physical damage to cold or lightning damage based on what ailments are on it. The Trinity support gem is designed to support builds that deal multiple types of elemental damage. While Trinity supports your skill, any hits that deal damage with a specific element will build resonance with the other 2 elements. The more resonance you have of every element, the more damage the Trinity support gem provides. When you have high resonance with all 3 elements, Trinity also grants elemental penetration. Here you can see the player using Ball Lightning with Unleash and Magma Orb to build resonance across all 3 elements. To power up the Trinity support gem quickly and uniformly, the player alternates between pairs of elemental damage types. Combined with the Elemental Weakness Curse, the maximum resonance Trinity absolutely decimates enemies. In addition to introducing the 2 entirely new gems we described, we have done an extensive balance pass on other skills. We have buffed over 40 existing gems, including skills such as Scorching Ray, Seismic Trap, Firestorm, Venom Gyre, Static Strike, Kinetic Bolt, Crackling Lance, Lightning Strike, Shrapnel Ballista, and Artillery Ballista. Full details will be available in the patch notes next week so that you can plan your perfect build. As well as introducing and rebalancing skills, another important aspect of keeping the metagame fresh in a Path of Exile expansion is adding new unique items to discover and build characters around. Unlike most items you find in Path of Exile that are randomly generated, unique items are extremely rare ones that our design team have hand-created to offer new build opportunities. Echoes of the Atlas introduces 10 new unique items, some of which are exclusive to its new endgame encounters. Let's have a look at a few. These are some unique worm-scale boots called Legacy of Fury. They place Scorched Ground as you travel, which applies the Scorch ailment to enemies standing in it. When scorched enemies die, they have a chance to set fire to surrounding enemies, dealing a percentage of the slain enemy's life over time. These boots create an interesting and new way to support your build with fire damage. This is a new unique amethyst ring called Black Flame, which is themed around fire and chaos damage. Its headline effect is that your ignites now deal chaos damage, along with a cool new chaos ignited effect on monsters. Also, if you ignite a withered enemy while wearing Black Flame, the wither will no longer expire, and you can build up to its maximum of 15 stacks, if the enemy survives long enough, that is. Along with its various other benefits, this unique ring should ignite a few new ways of playing fire and chaos damage characters. These new Zealot gloves are called Hand of the Fervent and create an interesting interaction between physical damage and the mana cost of skills. The unique ability of these gloves happens whenever you use a skill. They grant an effect called Sacrificial Zeal, which both adds a quarter of the skill's mana cost to spell physical damage, but also hurts you to the tune of 150% of the skill's mana cost over 4 seconds. They also reduce your enemy's physical damage reduction. When we have time during an expansion's development, we try to identify past leagues that can be integrated into the core game as optional side content, with a few improvements. This expansion contains 2 such leagues. Last year, we released the Harvest League, which allowed you to grow a garden of monsters, fight them, and then use their lifeblood to craft your items in powerful ways. Watching this league unfold made us realize 2 things. Firstly, the crafting options were so powerful and so easily accessible that players had unprecedented access to almost everything they wanted very quickly. Secondly, even the players who did enjoy the mechanics of growing their own garden would probably find it boring if that was something they had to do every single league. When deciding how to integrate Harvest into the core game, we knew that we had to curtail crafting somehow, but we didn't want to just do this by nerfing it a lot. We needed a smarter solution that still allowed players to earn and perform powerful crafts. We also knew that we didn't want players to have to grow and manage their own gardens every league. So let's check out how Harvest works as part of the core game in Echoes of the Atlas. In Echoes of the Atlas, as you play through maps, rather than finding a seed cache, you'll now encounter a portal to the Sacred Grove. But it's not your own Sacred Grove, it's an established one that is a full complement of plants ready to harvest, fight, and craft with. The grove contains several pairs of harvests to choose between, each displaying the details of the fight and the corresponding crafting options. You can only pick one of each pair, so carefully choose which crafting options are best for you, defeat the monsters, and use their life force to perform the crafts.
That's awesome. I think that's a way better change to Harvest. It was definitely worth doing because
if you're strong enough to kill
the crafting was insane.
It represents quite a lot of crafting opportunities, and you can save up to 10 crafts for later use at the Hoarder crafting station, which is now available in your hideout. We like this compromise because it keeps the exciting elements of harvest, fighting, and crafting, and drops the part that got old quickly, seed management and garden planning.
So I'd say that change is awesome.
Heist League into the core game as optional content with a few improvements. In Heist, players travel to the Rogue Harbor to hire a crew of thieves to help them plan and execute risky heists, working towards a thief's ultimate goal, pulling off a grand heist. In the Echoes of the Atlas expansion, heist contracts drop from Act 6 onwards. Rogues level up their skills faster from completing heists, markers drop with higher stack sizes, and quest contracts are now dropped for you at the next smuggler's cache as soon as that quest is available. One great aspect of Heist is that all of its progress items are tradable, so if you're focusing on other content, you can trade away your contracts until you're ready to go on some heists. So we've covered most of the big features of Echoes of the Atlas so far. Keep an eye out for the patch notes in a few days where we will detail other changes that didn't make it into this presentation. Soon we'll move on to the Q&A about today's announcements, but first, let's have a quick look at the new supporter packs that are available right now to celebrate the Echoes of the Atlas expansion and the Ritual Challenge League, and to help fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile. The Faithsworn and Renegade supporter packs come with masses of points to spend in the store, social frames, forum titles and badges, a download of the digital soundtrack, and of course exclusive cosmetic microtransactions such as armor sets and character effects. The Renegade series has an exclusive pet, and the Faithsworn series an exclusive portal effect. Each series has 2 packs, and the smaller packs can be upgraded to their respective larger packs at any time while they are still on sale. These are, of course, in addition to the new core packs that we released a couple of weeks ago. Remember to check those out if you haven't already.
It's a really cool portal.
Thanks so much for your support.
Okay.
As you know, purchases of these packs are what fund ongoing development of Path of Exile, its expansions, and its sequel. Speaking of Path of Exile 2, we know you're keen for an update. While today is all about Path of Exile and Echoes of the Atlas, we have plenty of Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile mobile updates planned for you this year, which will start sooner than you think. Our team have been creating some amazing stuff and we can't wait to reveal it to you.
All right, so I guess they're gonna do.
So I'm sure you have a bunch of burning
Oh, it's not even
questions
extra
about
right
Echoes
here.
of the Atlas. Stay tuned as we're joined by Ziggy D, who will be hosting a Q&A with me based on your questions from Twitch chat.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and back it up just a little bit. I'm just gonna go and throw some PoE audio in the background. I think this is a pretty cool idea that you're able to go ahead and fight multiple bosses. This is gonna be very exciting for content creators. With the new passive tree that was shown off, though, I was really hoping it would be more than just basically density, as well as, and there's XP to get in here as well, but I'm really looking forward to seeing like the new unique items more than really anything with this league. But I was hoping that this would actually modify our builds, like we would, instead of it just being like you'll have more like splinters that drop or something, it would be things that would actually affect our character. I think that that would have been, again, a little bit more advanced, but yeah, I think that Path of Exile does have so much content. To add more skill trees would make some people super overwhelmed. I do like that ice sphere skill that they showed off. I think that's a cool idea. It's almost like in, if you've seen Diablo Immortal or some other action RPGs, where you're able to go ahead and throw down something on the ground. Like there's an ice crystal you can throw in Diablo Immortal, and then you can throw a beam onto it, then it like basically refracts. That's a really cool idea, and I like that they're incorporating some skills that would add a little bit more depth to the gameplay. And they're also making it so like there's that Trinity system, and I like that they're trying to encourage people to use more than one skill, because for me, almost every league I end up just going right back to Flicker Strike. So with this league in particular, it's going to be, I think, very difficult to play Flicker Strike, but again, you could just swap it out and just still run like some variant of like Impale Cyclone, and I think I'll be fine. But overall, I would say the Echoes of the Atlas is looking really good in terms of like, because I also like to read the comments over on YouTube to see how people are feeling about you know, the expansion, and it looks like it's, I would consider this overwhelmingly positive. Heck, I'll drop them a like on it too. But me trying to understand any PoE feature, this will create more questions than answers over here. But this is looking really cool though. Overall, I'm curious to know what you guys think about this league so far. I do really like that change to Harvest, because that was a league where I did participate in it just because I wanted to see the new content, but I like the idea you go in, you choose which one you want, and you don't have to manage it at all. It's just much nicer overall. I think with the Watchstones, it is kind of overwhelming, because I've noticed on my PoE playthroughs, once we get to the part of the Watchstone, there's always tons and tons of questions. I don't get it, and they get lost on it. I think it could be probably more simplified versus more complex. For, I would say, like beginner players, because that's always where I feel like a lot of people lose out on being able to understand the mechanics of the game. But anyways, I'm looking forward to playing this. This is a really long video. I'm not going to rant out any longer, but I'm really looking forward to it. But thanks for tuning, guys, and if you guys want to see the full playthrough and you just happen to come across my YouTube video now, we'll be doing a full playthrough with a full walkthrough guide, as we do pretty much every single new expansion pack for this. But I just think that it's going to be super difficult for a lot of the players. Heck, most of the players in PoE, honestly, they don't get to like, they don't defeat Cyrus, they don't defeat like Shaper, they don't do like the Uber. I really feel like that's totally fine with me, and I like the idea that, like, you know, some content is too hard for some beginners, that they'll just never be able to experience it, and that kind of makes it more special, if that kind of makes any sense, versus like in some other action RPGs, everyone kind of gets to experience the same thing. It's just the numbers start, you know, exponentially getting higher. But like when there's 10 bosses at once, that's gonna be so insane. But anyways, I'm really looking forward to this league, and anyways, that's going to go ahead and be it for the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. But thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. And if you are new and you do want to see more Diablo content in the future, hit Diablo, Path of Exile, another action RPG. And sometimes we play other games like Fortnite and stuff when there's new content to be seen. And we're waiting for like the new league. Because well, we kind of skipped out on a league on PoE because, well, after Heist, there was a kind of like a break. They kind of delayed this until now. But we'll be playing it next week. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.